Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome in. It is another bullish day in the crypto market. I know the prices are down right now, but this is all just volatility, par for the course, and we're going to find a bottom and start moving soon. Hey, Maximum, great to have you. We got Wall Street Puppet Master. What is your take on ETH? We're going to talk about that Wall Street. We got Boom Lee. Market kind of starting red this morning. Yeah, absolutely. But it's all, the cyclical pattern in the markets. We're going to break it down. Dwayne says, when bull run? It's coming. It's coming, I think, later this month as we head into September. And Matthew Singer, great to have you on your 15-minute break. Mark G from Toronto. Thank you for tuning in, Mark. Great to have you. I was just in Montreal, Canada, and in June, I think it was, or July. I can't remember, but one of those. I think it was early July. My wife and I, my family, we were in Montreal. Good morning from Texas. Just get wet. XRP for me. Good morning. Bitcoin for breakfast. Let's effing go. We need some bullishness. Yeah, absolutely. We actually have some very bullish news today, even though the prices are down. We got Crypto Made Simple. Great to have you from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Thank you for tuning in. Guys, on your way in, hit the thumbs up button, hit the heart button, hit the like button, wherever you're watching or listening, and please subscribe if you haven't as yet. We got lots to cover, lots of great news, and of course, we got to talk about the charts. We got to talk about where the market's at and what's happening. Obviously, we're just experiencing your normal volatility like we've seen all through this bull market and previous bull markets, right? But of course, it's hard to go through these moments, but they all lead to higher rallies because the macro thesis is still in play, of course. Oh boy, looks like we got some spammers in here. Just watch out for those spammers, guys. You see the Grok spammers? They're starting to show up. Let's see if I can ban. All right, perfect. Ban user and delete comments. Oh yeah. They're coming in strong here. These Grok spammers. I hate these bots, man. They're so annoying. And YouTube, they do a horrible job at blocking these. Like, literally, you have these spammers come in and put like 120 comments of the same thing. And YouTube does nothing. It's ridiculous. So watch out for the spammers. It's going to increase as the market keeps going higher. One of the indications, though, that we are in a bull market is when you have these spammers and they are so aggressive. Oh my gosh. See, I'm sure you guys are seeing the comments on YouTube. It is pretty wild. I'm going to do my best to ban these clowns. So annoying. Let me see if I can ban the whole word Grok on whatever else they are posting here. Yeah, okay. Sorry about the spam, guys. Bitcoin for breakfast says spammers are a top signal. Yeah, when they are so aggressive and they're coming in, bombarding like YouTube comments. Yeah, for sure. And again, YouTube does a horrible job. Like, how does your algorithm not flag that someone's posting the same crap over and over? It's really, really annoying. So crazy. All right, guys, I'm banning and deleting. So just watch out. Okay. Let me ban this last guy here and delete. Okay, guys, thank you for tuning in. We are still in a bull market, so don't panic, don't worry. And let's just kick it off with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin right now, obviously below 114,000. It's trading at $113,637. So this was anticipated, right? It's still holding the key support levels. However, I wouldn't want Bitcoin to go below $109,000. That means something has changed significantly. So, we could go to 110, we could touch 109 before we bounce, but this is par for the course. Bitcoin, if you look at the daily RSI, it was in the overbought zone, not superheated, but Ethereum more so was more superheated, but still in that overbought zone. Now we're heading back to the oversold zone. So we're going to be in the oversold very soon, and then we're going to find a reversal. This is the same cyclical pattern we've seen so many times. simple pattern recognition will show you what the hell is happening here. And of course, we're holding the key support level, or the moving average I like to highlight. And it's very simple. You guys can pull this up on TradingView and look at many different charts this way. The 200-day moving average. When we are above it, good things happen. When we are below it in a downtrend, bad things happen. So you can see every time we've had rallies, we are above that green line. Pretty simple, right? And then when you go look at the historical patterns, when we are below it in a downtrend, that's bear market territory. So you want to be above the 200-day moving average, comfortably above it, and you want to see an uptrend, higher highs, higher lows. So nothing to be concerned about here, guys. Bitcoin doing its thing. Even the stock market right now is cooling down. The S&P 500 also in the overbought zone, bit of a cool down. The NASDAQ is actually leading that cool down with regards to the stock market. You can see it was in the overbought zone. And let me get myself out of the way here so you guys can see the chart from a bigger perspective. So you see the NASDAQ is correcting. Although what's kind of happening is there's a bit of a rotation of liquidity into the NASDAQ. So while the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ are cooling down, Dow Jones is moving up. So again, rotational liquidity, we're still in a bull market. And Ethereum, Crypto, he highlighted here that a gigantic Ethereum bull flag is forming on a chart. So ETH with its correction is still looking very good here. If you look at the chart, it touched, $4,700 and higher. Now it's cooling down, but look how overbought it was. The RSI was forming that green color because it was so overheated. And then when we hit the inverse of that, the oversold, and it gets super oversold, it becomes red, right? So I hope you understand the cyclical patterns here. So this is also heading to the oversold zone, and we just got to let it do its thing. So I think we could be like this for another week and a half. And then I think towards the end of August, we start picking up steam and we start moving higher, and that rally continues into September. This is typically not the time frame that we see these types of things, but as I've been talking to you guys about for months on months, the tariff situation, the tariff crash pushed the timeline back by like a few months or a couple months. So typically you would have the blow off top, or a local top, I should say, in April and May and June, and then a cool down into the summer. Sell in May, go away. That's the typical pattern. But the tariff situation threw the whole timeline off. And here we're seeing that in August, we had a rally, and now we're cooling down. So nothing unusual here, folks. I know some of you may say, hey, I have certain coins that have not rallied yet. Well, this is where you want to see Ethereum doing really well, because Ethereum historically has led the bull rally for the majority of altcoins. So we're looking at total 3 right here. This excludes Bitcoin, Ethereum, and stablecoins. And you can see it was also rallying following Ethereum, but now cooling down with the rest of the market. So we want to see ETH do well. Keep in mind, a lot of tokens are ERC20. They are built on Ethereum. So here we just got to be patient. We got to let the market cycles play out. And soon enough, we will find a bottom and then blast off to the next rally. Bitcoin dominance, which has been in a decline, but you can see here there's ebbs and flows, which is healthy. And here, this is another moment of ebb and flow, where Bitcoin dominance is reversing, but it's still in that downtrend. You can see, right? You can have these mini reversals, which is the inverse of what the market is doing, right? The market's going down and Bitcoin dominance is going back up. So it's very cyclical. And you can see here that the Bitcoin dominance is in the oversold zone from its RSI. So, it's probably going to pop up here and then come back down as we are anticipating for the next rally. Similarly, you have the USDT dominance doing the same thing. See the cyclical pattern here, folks? Same thing. And this could go up here and touch this trend line and then keep breaking down. You see it's moving away from the oversold zone. So doing the inverse of the assets of Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and so forth. So folks, nothing new here. It's just cyclical. It's the same old status quo that we've seen time and time again. Markets don't move in a straight line. You're going to have these ebbs and flows, these peaks and valleys, but you want to look at the macro. What is the trend? Clearly, the trend here for USDT is a downtrend. clearly the trend here for Bitcoin dominance is a downtrend. Clearly the trend here for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other assets is an uptrend, despite the short-term pullbacks. So folks, this may be a time that you step away from the charts. Don't look at your portfolio because we are in a corrective phase. But macro thesis, we are still in a bull market and higher highs, higher prices are coming. And I believe, folks, if you caught my podcast, excuse me, if you caught my podcast from yesterday, I think the blow off top comes in Q4. The SEC just delayed all ETF approvals. So not specific ones, just all of them to October. So that is a major catalyst that people are going to look towards, and it's going to be a huge mainstream narrative. Plus, Congress is going to pass crypto legislation, the Clarity Act, by late September into early October. It will most likely happen in October because government never runs on time. You have the tariff delay for China pushed back by 90 days. Trump did that earlier this month. So that puts us in October. You got global M2. And let me pull up a global M2 chart here showing a top as of today that it's going to take place in late September. So there's a lag. So one can surmise that the blow up top, based on all these factors, will happen in Q4. So this is the data now. These are the facts, the news items. I'm not using my feelings or emotions. So let me pull up the M2 chart here. Global liquidity. So you can see here, it's showing a top kind of around the mid of September and a little bit of a sideways move, then a correction. There seems to be a bit of a reversal, but we don't have confirmation that this is a reversal to new highs or is just a cyclical pattern, right? Nothing goes down in a straight line, nothing goes up in a straight line. So you could easily roll over, but we'll watch it closely as we get closer so we can form our thesis. So the other thing that's very bullish, Bitcoin whales with 10 or more Bitcoin in their wallets, they are buying the dip. Look at this uptick in recent days with the price going down. That's a positive sign. They are buying. When this starts to trend down and they are decreasing their holdings, that's when I'm going to be on here saying, guys, look what's happening here. We're in the top zone. They are taking profits. So this is why, folks, make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you have the notification bell enabled because we're going to be covering all these things. I'll be doing a lot of live streams as the market heats up and we are in that top zone. So we know what the hell is happening. And if you are planning to take profits, you make sure you exit the market before that bear market comes. Now, the bear market, as we've seen historically, it doesn't collapse in a straight line. You're going to have a peak. You're going to see corrections and, you'll have retracements to seem like the bull market's continuing and then it rolls over. Go back on the charts. You'll see this, right? But guys, whales, Bitcoin whales, they are accumulating. That's a very positive sign. Pi cycle top indicator, a very macro signal, also not showing us that we are close to the top, but we could easily see over the next couple of a few months, this thing really start these moving averages getting very close to each other and that top coming in, but we'll have to wait and see. We don't have a crystal ball, but we're using the data at least to form a thesis, not our feelings, not our emotions, not fairy tales, not conspiracy theories. What is the data telling us? So things looking good here, folks. And despite the short-term volatility. So hope that's helpful. Altcoins are going to bleed out, of course. I see some people in the comment section. Yeah, I mean, everything's going to bleed out because, they've been in the oversold zone. So, for example, XRP, right? Look at where it was in July. Super overheated. Its RSI in the daily chart in the green. That is super overbought. So what is the natural, reaction from the market and from investors? The opposite direction. It is now heading to that oversold zone. But what comes when it hits the oversold zone? The reversal, moving back to the overbought. It's all cyclical, guys. Simple pattern recognition will, tell you this. Same thing happened in December 2024. Very overheated, right? Overbought, and then boom, straight to the oversold. Then finds the support. Boom. Next move to new highs. Overbought. And now we're heading back down. But you can see it's still holding the key support levels. It's still above the 200-day moving average. So we're still in bull market territory. So you really have to have the macro outlook, because if you don't, the market will rip you to shreds. If you're looking at the 1 minute, hourly, daily, and you're caught up in that every day, the market will rip you to shreds. The whales will rip your heart out. So you have to have the macro view. You got to use the data, not your emotions. You got to check your emotions at the door, folks. So everything is going down right now. HBAR, which I hold in my portfolio, also going down. But also, look at this. It was in the overbought zone. Lo and behold, right? So the natural reaction, go to that oversold zone, and sentiment's going to reset. So folks, it's all cyclical. And once you grasp this, once you see these patterns, you're like, I see what's happening. And you validate the bull market thesis by looking at the data. So things are moving in the right direction. Folks, hit that thumbs up button, hit the heart button, hit the like button wherever you're watching and listening. We're streaming on multiple platforms. Hit the 5-star rating as well. And subscribe if you haven't as yet. And folks, check out our sponsors, Uphold. Great place to buy, sell, and stake your crypto. They have 300 plus cryptocurrencies on their platform. They have over 20 crypto assets that they offer staking on. So check them out. I've been a user since 2018. Check out Trezor. Great hardware wallet maker. You can safely store your crypto on their device. I'm a user of this Trezor Safe 5. They support all the top coins. Their hardware wallets are open source. And folks, you can use my code ThinkingCrypto to get 5% off. ThinkingCrypto, all one word. Check out Proppy, leading the charge with putting real estate on chain. We know real estate's going to be tokenized, folks, and Proppy allows you to buy and sell real estate on their platform, and you can sell it for crypto. So you want to sell your house for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP, you can do that. So they use Coinbase for the escrow service. I'm a Proppy token holder. I have been since 2018. So check them out. Also check out VeChain. They're one of the leading enterprise-grade blockchains out there, getting a lot of adoption from big brands and companies, building Web3 technology. I'm a VET token holder. Dana White and the UFC are also partnered with VeChain. Dana White just recently bought like $1 million in VET tokens, which is pretty wild when you think about it. And I've been a long-term holder of the VET token as well. And check out iTrust Capital if you want a really great tax beneficial way of investing in crypto. iTrust Capital allows you to set up a self-directed IRA. They have 80 plus crypto assets on their platform. You can trade and buy and sell 24/7. They have a great custody program. I think this is the second safest option when it comes to custody behind self-custody, because they use Coinbase's institutional grade custody, which BlackRock and all these firms use. They have bank tiered custody. So get the tax exemptions and have these securities. So you can roll over your 401k and your existing IRA to this program, and you can get $100 funding bonus if you use my link. So check out iTrust Capital, folks. All right, let's jump into some news. Folks, this is huge. Tether fudsters are in shambles. So Bo Hines, who was working with David Sachs, part of the White House Crypto Council, he was the executive director. He recently resigned. He is now joining Tether. He says, huge thanks to Paolo Ardoino, who is the CEO of Tether, and the team for the warm welcome. Excited to build an ecosystem of digital asset products that set the standard for compliance and innovation, empowering U.S. customers and reshaping our financial system. The best is yet to come. This is a huge win for Tether. And the fudsters are, I don't know what they're going to do now, because not only is Bo Hines working, former White House guy working for Tether, but if you recall, Howard Lutnick and Cantor Fitzgerald, they are investors in Tether. And Howard Lutnick came out last year and said they have the money, they have the reserves, and Cantor owns 5%. And who's Howard Lutnick? He's the Commerce Secretary, part of the government. So if anyone is spreading FUD about Tether, you have to question their motives. Are they being paid to spread FUD, right? Are they lying to you for some nefarious reasons? I don't have a horse in this race. I just call it like it is. I'm here to give you guys the facts and the information. So just watch out for people who spread FUD, and some of them are just doing it maybe for engagement, right? They just want to sell fear. They want to sell drama and nonsense. So just watch out for people like that. But clearly, Tether's here to stay, and Tether's going to expand to the United States. And this is a very big win for them. So huge, huge pickup. Now, folks, Many of you know I have the Avax token in my portfolio. Avax is a native token on the Avalanche blockchain. Look at the adoption news Avalanche is getting. Japan's yen-backed stablecoin gets regulatory green light and is set to launch on Avalanche. I reported on this news just the other day. I think it was Sunday. And I said, we're going to have to wait to see what the blockchain is that these firms and these countries adopt. This is a massive vote of confidence for Avalanche. I'm not telling you to go invest in Avalanche, but I'm sharing the facts. And I often tell you guys, if you're investing in a token, this is what you want to see, right? Right now, Avalanche, they are, what is it, number 18 on the market cap list. So they're a top 20 asset. It's currently trading at $23 or so. Also down like the rest of the crypto market, but this is just massive news, folks. The Japanese government is launching a yen stablecoin on Avalanche. I'm going to keep loading up on AVAX. I'm not telling you to do that. That's not financial advice. But I'm not loading up now. I want to make sure I'm clear because I bought the bloody bear market for a lot of these assets and I don't want to necessarily buy now. When the bear market comes and all these assets start going down, you can imagine I'm going to buy a ton of AVAX because this is huge. A country building its stablecoin on your blockchain is massive. Not only that, a U.S. state, Wyoming, announced they are launching the first state-issued stablecoin on Avalanche. I mean, my goodness, right? This is incredible. And the stablecoin is going to be called FRNT, and it was formerly known as WYST. So it is now live on Avalanche, folks. I mean, do you see what's happening here? This is all facts. I'm not making this up. I am not telling you to go invest, but I'm just pointing you to the facts here. So I guess you call it FRNT, is fully backed by short-term U.S. treasuries and dollars issued directly by the state of Wyoming. Incredible. They said it's not a startup experiment, but a legally governed, fully audited public financial instrument with 102% reserves live on chain. Massive news here. And you can imagine other states are going to follow, right? We're going to see game theory play out here. So not only that, folks, look at this. Anthony Scaramucci's Skybridge is tokenizing $300 million in RWAs on Avalanche. Man, I'm so glad I bought AVAX and put that in my portfolio because I think all of this is going to be priced in as we keep moving higher. So it says here they're using Tokenese ERC 3643 standard plus Apex Group's digital 3.0 infrastructure. This single source solution covers the full investment lifecycle from creation to issuance, administration, and distribution. So tokenization is the future of finance, as Larry Fink said. What you want to pay attention to is which blockchains are getting the adoption when it comes to tokenization. So massive news for Avalanche. I mean, if you're an AVAX token holder, I hope you are bullish as I am on it. If you're a AVAX token holder, leave a comment, guys, wherever you're watching and listening. Just, if you're an AVAX token, you can say, I'm an AVAX token holder in the comment section. This is incredible adoption news, not only for AVAX, but just the industry, the use of blockchain by a country, by a state in the US, and obviously continued tokenization of real world assets. Incredible news. Now, look at this. Thailand launches a program allowing tourists to convert crypto to local local currency. So this is really great because as crypto becomes a bigger part of society and the fabric of society and becoming more mainstream, people are going to want to spend their crypto assets. And it's great that you have these on-ramps being set up by governments and private businesses to help people to spend their crypto and convert it easily and just have all these different options. I think that's so important. And you're going to see more of this because, again, as the majority of the population, they start holding crypto, this is going to be very, very, helpful to have these different options. So this is really bullish. Look at this. Robinhood has listed SWI. Many of you know I hold SWI in my portfolio. I was kind of late to it, but I bought it in 2024 when the price was down. And this is really great. I think it's going to do well. It is a top 20 asset. Right now it's number 14. So There's a lot of VCs backing it. There's a lot of narratives, strong narratives behind it. So really, really big news here, folks. So folks, again, you got to see the macro view of what's happening in the market. One thing I forgot to mention here was that SharpLink, I think it is, if I have it here. Oh, I think I lost it. Oh, here we go. SharpLink Gaming, they bought more Ethereum. So $667 million of ETH. They're an Ethereum treasury company, of course, and that equates to $143,593 of ETH. That is incredible. So the buying continues. The treasury companies continue to build and buy more. That's all bullish. So they wouldn't be buying, folks, if they didn't see further upside in the price, because many of you know about the arbitrage with the stock price, right? So we're still in the bull market. I would say the top is maybe 3-4 months away. I could be wrong. It could spill over into 2026, but I mentioned earlier the different catalysts, and they're all facts. It's not hyperbole. It's not over speculation. It's, fancy stories, fairy tales, and all that. It is legit items that are on the table and on the horizon. So, guys, be patient. Don't worry about these prices. We will find we're going to get out of here sooner than later. Again, the way to, help yourself, your mental health, don't look at your portfolio. This is the time to step outside to go touch grass, as they would say, right? To keep your mental health, folks. Guys, once again, check out our sponsors. Uphold, great place to buy, sell, and stake your crypto assets. Trezor, they make great hardware wallets for you to safely store and self-custody your crypto assets. Propy, leading the charge with putting real estate on chain. I'm a Propy token holder. VeChain, one of the top layer 1 enterprise blockchains. I'm a VET token holder. I Trust Capital, get tax beneficial, or I should say get benefits of investing via an IRA, and reduce your taxes. And they have a great custody program that can help you secure your crypto assets. And also, be sure to sign up for our free email newsletter on Substack, 100% free. I include a lot of the chart data, the macro data, and so forth, as far as what's whales are doing, on-chain data in this newsletter. So, guys, you can always go to this because it's 100% free. And if you forget something, or you're like, what's going on with this market, you can come to this newsletter. I include a ton of information here. Talk about Bitcoin dominance, USDT dominance, market outlook, and patterns, all for free. You don't have to pay anything. Just sign up, and I do a weekly update. So you won't get bombarded every day. It's just a weekly update, folks. So check it out. Check out my book on Amazon. It's available in paperback and digital. And if you want to expand your knowledge about the crypto asset class and technology, go to mycryptocourse.com. This is a comprehensive course I built to help you guys learn about crypto. So check it out. All the links will be in the description. All right. I'm ready to answer you guys' questions, look at some coins and charts and so forth. Let's see what we got here. Bitcoin for breakfast says, love Trezor. Yeah. So I switched over to Trezor. I have the, what do you call it? The Trezor Safe 5. It's a great device. And it's much more usable, in my opinion, because of the screen, versus the Ledger, which, is kind of small and things like that. XR Pimp says XRP staking through Firelight goes live tomorrow on Songbird. Oh yeah, so it's going live on a testnet. And by the way, I will be interviewing Hugo Filion of Flare and the folks on Firelight in September. So I'll bring you guys all the details on that. XR Pimp says, looking like Sailor's Ponzi is going to crash Bitcoin unless the market picks up and buys him some time. I don't think it's going to collapse now. I think come the bear market, he's going to have some problems. And I've been on record. I don't want anything to happen, but I see warning signs here, man. I think a lot of people are now picking up on it. I was talking about this over a year ago, that it's one thing to take some cash on your balance sheet, right? And you buy some Bitcoin, right? Let's say you have $1 billion in cash on your company's balance sheet. Let's say you take $500 million or whatever, maybe not that much, but you know what I mean, right? You take 200 million and you go buy some Bitcoin. I don't think anybody would say, hey, that's risky, or that's a red flag, because you still have your cash, your operating cash, and much more. That's fine. That's how it started. But then Saylor was like, oh, I'm going to go raise billions of dollars of debt and then buy Bitcoin. So you put yourself in problems. You're using leverage. So something, it just takes one little mess up and it could collapse the whole thing, right? And a lot of folks are raising a lot of capital, man. And the thing about Bitcoin is that you don't have the same benefits that proof of stake blockchains like Ethereum has, where you can do DeFi and earn yield, and you have natural yield being generated from the staking component. So Ethereum treasury company is actually in a better position in the bear market than a Bitcoin, because they have the yield constantly being generated, which can help cover costs and being reinvested in much more. Bitcoin, it's digital gold. That's a great use case, but it won't do much sitting in a bear market, right? So this is where I am concerned for Saylor and many of these treasury companies. Some of them are going to blow up because you have the factors of mismanagement, and not everybody's going to do this right. So history has showed us, guys, when you have this much leverage, there's some sort of blow up that's coming. Again, I don't want it to happen. I think it will cause a lot of bad headlines for crypto, but such is the nature of markets, right? Jira if I'm saying that right, I'm not looking at my portfolio as recommended. Keep calm and have faith. Yeah, absolutely. Look, I do the same thing, guys. I have not looked at my portfolio since Bitcoin touched 124 and started correcting, and ETH and everything's been down. There's no point. There's no point to look at it because it will just make me miserable, right? I'm human, so I want to see my bags go higher. I want to make money just like all of you, right? And don't get me wrong, my portfolio is up because I've been buying since the bloody bear market of 2022, early 2023. I was buying down here. So my portfolio is up. My Bitcoin holdings are up. My ETH holdings are up. My XRP holdings are up. My Solana holdings are up. My Avax holdings are up. So I'm not complaining in a sense of, oh, I didn't make any money. Obviously, it's unrealized gains. But the point is my portfolio is up significantly, but it still sucks to see it, react to the volatility. So yeah. Praxis Media Group says, send it. Yeah, for sure. John Howell says, hi, Tony. How do you think Chainlink is going to do this bull run? So I laugh because there's been a big social campaign of like Chainlink holders trying to target XRP. And look, I get it, right? It's a bit of a marketing thing, but I hold Chainlink in my portfolio. I am extremely, extremely bullish on Chainlink. So with a Fibonacci model aligned here on the Chainlink chart, I'm anticipating, and not biased, but just because of all the adoption news we've been seeing, Chainlink has gotten huge, huge integrations with many different platforms, even traditional finance. You can see here that it's showing a lot of strength. So it's not far from its all-time high of just over $50. I honestly think it can get to $85 and higher. I would love $100 Chainlink. I think it's possible. It's because we're not far from the all-time high, and it's a top 20 asset. So it's getting the visibility, well, close to being a top 10 right now. If you eliminate the stable coins, it would be a top 10 asset, but it's number 11 right now. And I think it's going to do well. So John, I am bullish on Chainlink. I hold it. I'm not part of the camp of all these people throwing mud at each other. XRP people throwing mud at Chainlink, Chainlink throwing mud at XRP. I hold both, and I'm hoping both go up, and I can make as much money as possible. I'm a make money maximalist. That's what that's what I'm here for. Everybody can deal with the drama and so forth. So Sonia B says, what do you think about Avalanche? So Sonia, I spoke about it earlier. I'm bullish on Avalanche. I hold Avax, and we got 3 major news items, adoption items. And it don't matter if you may not be a big fan of the project, you can't deny the adoption. Japan launching a yen stablecoin. That's a country launching their stablecoin on the Avalanche blockchain. Wyoming being the first state to launch a stablecoin, doing it on Avalanche. Tokenization. Skybridge Capital will tokenize $300 million in hedge funds on Avalanche. three major news items here this morning. So I hold AVAX. I'm bullish on it. Let's look at the chart here. Let's see how it can do, but potentially, this cycle. Obviously, no guarantees, right? Because none of us have a crystal ball, but the things that we want to see, such as adoption, are happening. Okay. So Avalanche has shown some strength this cycle, but I would have liked to see more. And I hold the token, so I'm being unbiased here. I would have loved to see a stronger move here in this recent rally, where you had ETH, XRP, and these others that were really doing well. The good signs is in 2024 it did rally, but the fact that it didn't rally in 2025 is kind of sucks. But it's also not far from its all-time high of $148. When you look at percentage gains, but I think it can reasonably get to like $240, the 1.618, or 233, I should say. That's the price on that level. Obviously, I would love to see it go higher. I mean, I would love a $372 AVAX, but I need to see strength. So maybe adoption news like we're seeing today will start to get priced in, and we'll start to see some strength in the next rally. But again, need to see more strength for this to catch up to the other altcoins, right? So we do have time. One of the things I was showing you guys earlier was Total 3 still trying to work its way here. And this is the majority of the altcoin market, excluding Bitcoin, Ethereum, and stablecoins. You can see Total 3 has not broken its all-time high of just over $1 trillion. So we need to get past $1 trillion, and then we enter into price discovery, and we could easily get to, like let's say a 1.5 trillion or 1.6. So that's where AVAX and a lot of these other altcoins will catch the liquidity and start moving, if you get what I'm saying. Andy says Link and AVAX are both lagging this market. Yeah, for sure. So to my point, Andy, like I think once Total 3, which includes Link and AVAX, starts picking up steam and we crack the all-time high of 1 trillion, we enter price discovery. I think that's where the euphoric zone will happen, and you will see Chainlink, AVAX, and all these coins catch up. But one of the things I would like to see, as I mentioned earlier, AVAX needs to show more strength. Chainlink is showing strength, right, in the recent. So if we go to the Link chart really quick here, see Chainlink is showing strength here, right? As of recent, that's better than what AVAX is showing right now. So by showing the strength, it's moving up these Fibonacci levels. It's building the support levels sooner than later. So that gives it the opportunity to catch that liquidity momentum and keep going higher, right? But if you haven't left the ground floor yet, it's going to take longer. And even if the bull market ends sooner than we anticipate, you may not be able to get to those higher levels because you haven't had the moves, off the ground level yet. David R. Morla says, Tony, what do you think about the Vine coin and revival of the Vine app and all archives being restored? So I think that's a great idea. If I'm not mistaken, it's X, Twitter, right? Elon trying to do that. That would be great. A competitor to TikTok. And I think they want to do a coin, if I'm not mistaken. I could be completely off there, but I think it's very good. Zed says, after the bull run, what do you think will be the new 50-cent bear for XRP? Will XRP live in the next bear market? Where will XRP live? That's a great question. Let's see here. That's a great question. It could be like in the 85 cents range, 70 to 85 cents range, or a little bit higher. That will depend, David. Zed. That will depend how high we go, honestly, because it's like the higher highs and higher lows, right? And we'll have to see based on where. I can't honestly say right now, but I can give a guesstimate of like 70 to 85 cents maybe. But depending on how high we go, that will help determine, kind of that bear market low. Josh says, appreciate your content, Tony. My pleasure, Josh. When H-bar hits $1.50 plus, we will break out the Macallan 25 to celebrate. Amazing, Josh. Very nice. And look, I'm with you, man. I am a H-bar holder. The one thing I like about the H-bar chart, let me make this a little less bright so you guys can see. Okay, that didn't help. I picked the wrong color there. Let's select a better color. That might be okay. Okay, so I love the H-bar chart because we saw a lot of strength already. I mean, the move in just January took us very close to the all-time high. Just a few levels up is for the Fibonacci to break the old all-time high, right? So again, you don't have to be a Wall Street analyst. I'm not the best technical analyst or whatever it is, but I've been learning and teaching myself and following great other great analysts and learning from them. And you can see here, folks, the percentage of liquidity or gains, we're not far from that all-time high. So I'm bullish on H-bar. There's a spot ETF application in play. And I think we're definitely cracking new all-time highs, because as opposed to the other charts I was showing you guys, H-bar is showing a lot of strength. And is it possible it can break that 2.618 over a 146? Yeah. Just because of its position, the ETF, and much more. It's a top 20 asset. It's number 17 right now. It's also been getting a lot of adoption. So I like what I'm seeing here. Hashim says, what about VET? Okay, so many of you know I'm a VET token holder. And I'm going to be brutally honest, guys. We are not seeing the strength. I do believe, VET is a ERC20 token. It's built on Ethereum. So that's why, I've been highlighting total 3. Once we break and we catch that liquidity, a lot of these tokens like VET and others are going to rally. But I want to see the strength, man. It has not shown the strength. And I'm being honest, as a token holder, I'm not saying it's not going to rally, but I was hoping it would be up here by now so that as the bull market continues, it can smash through the all-time highs and go as high as possible. So we'll have to see how it plays out. Again, I'm not saying it's not going to rally. I do believe it's going to rally. But this is not what you want to see, if you know what I mean. You want to see more, that it has moved up on the charts here. And let me change the colors here so it's a little less crazy. And my examples would be, let's compare it to the H-bar chart. Look at the H-bar chart versus the VET chart. See the difference, right? Big difference. Look at the XRP chart versus the VET chart. Big difference, right? So while there was some strength in Q4, it wasn't able to maintain it. It went back down to almost near those bear market levels. So man, I am hoping maybe in this next rally, this thing picks up steam and starts moving up. Again, not saying it's not going to rally, not saying it's not going to keep going higher. Just as a token holder, I want to see this higher so that, again, we can go as high as possible. But if you haven't left ground floor yet, it's going to take the chances of you getting as high as possible to those higher floors, they decrease. So that's where I stand. Yeah, absolutely, David. My pleasure. Thanks, Andy. Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you. Catch you in the next one. Folks, hit the thumbs up button for higher prices. Hit that thumbs up button, hit the heart button, hit the like button wherever you are watching and listening. David says, by the way, Tony, there is a Vine coin already. It was created by the co-founder of Vine. There's a page talking about it. And yes, Elon's been dropping hints. Okay, got it. That's something I need to look into, David. Honestly, I'm going to do my research on that. Even if I don't get it at this point in the cycle, when the bear market comes, if this is going to be integrated into X, and there's going to be a huge announcement and a lot of adoption, I'll buy it in the bear market. You know what I mean? When the prices are lower. I honestly have not been buying this whole year. The only thing I apologize. I don't want to lie. The only thing I added to my bag was in the tariff crash was Ondo, because the prices went down. So I bought some Ondo. But for my other holdings like XRP, VeChain, HBAR, AVAX, I have not been buying. I stopped buying since like 2023, and I've just been watching my portfolio go up. So that is how I've been treating it, because I've learned my lesson. And it's not necessarily that you can't buy now and still make money. You just won't make as much gains. Plus, you'll have to deal with short-term capital gains tax. And again, if you're making money, it's not really the end of the world, right? But I want to get as much of a higher return as possible and less taxes to deal with long-term capital gains versus short-term capital gains. So I hope you understand what I'm saying there. And like I said, I was buying in December 2022 down here, folks. And in January 2023, I was loading up like crazy. People were fearful. You know, that's it. The end of crypto, FTX collapse. Oh no, crypto's done. It's all a scam, right? Typical cyclical pattern. And guess what? When this market hits its top and then we go into a bear market, you know what's going to come again, right? Crypto's a scam. I told you guys, it's all a Ponzi. It's crypto is dead, right? All those comments come back. But that is just emotions. Markets all go through speculative bubbles. Real estate did, and then we had a big collapse in 2008. But of course, did that mean houses were a scam? Does that mean you shouldn't invest in a real estate property? Does that mean you shouldn't buy a house? Of course not. In the dot-com bubble, when that collapsed, the internet's a scam. All these companies are fake, right? But we know the internet was game-changing technology. It changed our lives. But these are just things that are par for the course. So you have to balance the narratives and the news with the data and history and the adoption of the technology, and separate speculative bubbles from the real world application and use and the outlook of the technology. Same thing here. People, they can't delineate. It's like hard for them to separate. Hey, this is a technology. It has real world application. It's going to be used. It's the next layer in the internet. But here's a market around that technology, and that market, like every other asset, will experience a speculative bubble. It's the nature of markets, and markets reflect human beings, and we are speculative beings, right? We go to Vegas, we go gamble and all these things. So once you grasp that, then you're not even fazed by headlines and what CNBC and Jim Cramer and these guys say. You kind of laugh at it now, like, oh man, they're going to sucker in a bunch of people with these narratives and headlines. But you know to look at the data. You know to look at the news that's not printed on the headlines, like what I tried to share on the podcast, like actual adoption news. CNN, Fox Business, MSNBC the New York Times are not going to tell you about, oh, the Japanese yen stablecoin just got built on the Avalanche blockchain. They won't tell you that. They'll just give you sensationalized headlines. Oh, crypto is down today. Bitcoin crashed. Oh my God, it's the end of the world, right? That's what they give you. They sell you fear and sensationalism. But you want to separate yourself from that. Not that you ignore it, but you just know how to see through it, right? And you go to news like this. Oh, the Japanese government is putting their yen stablecoin on the Avalanche blockchain. They're launching this thing come September or whatever. What else are they doing? Let me research. Let me go to the government's website. Let me download any paperwork from non-media outlets, right? Like research firms and so forth. Wyoming is putting a stablecoin on the Avalanche blockchain. You get what I'm saying here, right, folks? It's just where a lot of retail folks, because we were all trained to look at the news and take our financial information from Jim Cramer and these people, but they are not your friends. They're not giving you the full. Sometimes they give you a bit of facts and truth, but it's mixed with a lot of speculation and to point you in the wrong direction, because they want you to be exit liquidity for them, right? The setup is for the Wall Street firms to use you as exit liquidity. Don't become exit liquidity. Become smart money, folks. So I hope you understand what I'm saying here, why I'm saying it. Okay. Michael Carter says, so Michael, we did HBAR already, but I'll pull it up really quick. So one of the things I was saying is HBAR, its chart looks very good right now. We are not far from the all-time high, so we don't need that much liquidity to just bust through the what was it, the 58 cents mark. And I believe we're gonna go to $1 plus, in my opinion. I'm hoping for $1.50 and higher. That would be amazing as a HBAR token holder. But you can see here, compared to other coins, HBAR is showing a lot of strength, and I like what I'm seeing here. And again, I hate to pick on VET, but as a VET token holder, right, this is not what I want to see. And again, that doesn't mean it can't catch up. But as using my analogy earlier, if you're not off the ground floor, man, how do you expect to go up to the 100th floor, right? But if you are in a sense of a race in this timeline of the bull market, if you're off the ground floor and you are on floor 10 or whatever, you're closer to that higher price ceiling, right? So I hope you guys get what I'm saying. Oh, Jamie, did you get to go to Chris Giancarlo's gig in April? Unfortunately, no, Jamie. I keep missing it. And I apologize to Chris. I'm going to see if I can catch his next one and really get to hang out. Michael, yeah, thank you for tuning in, man. I appreciate it. Guys, hit the thumbs up button for higher prices. We want higher prices. If you want higher prices, hit the thumbs up button, hit the heart button, subscribe if you haven't as yet, guys. It helps out. It doesn't cost you anything. But guys, like I said, patience is the key here. Walk away from the charts. Don't look at your portfolio in these times. There's no point. There's no point. As mentioned, we're going to find the bottom sooner than later. Look at Bitcoin. It is pretty close to the oversold zone. So it's going to find its bottom. And as always, it's going to lead the rally. And there's going to be a rotational liquidity. So alts are going to bleed right now. Ethereum is going to bleed right now, right? It is also heading to the oversold zone. So don't be surprised that these altcoins bleed out. Because what you're going to see, the liquidity is going to go back to Bitcoin. It's going to make its move to a new high. And then the rotation starts again. It's the same cyclical pattern over and over. And, obviously there's going to be a bull market top. So then it will end. And then, we have the collapse. And, that collapse doesn't happen in a straight line. If you just go look at 2022, let's pull that up here for the Bitcoin chart, because we use Bitcoin as the measuring stick, right? There will be a big correction, but you'll see peaks and valleys on the way down. And then it'll be like these retracements that'll make you think that the bull market is going to continue, but we know better, right? We know better. Same thing happened in 2018, guys. I was here since 2016. I've seen these things over and over again. So again, be patient. All the bull market support levels are still intact. No invalidation. A quick zoom out on the chart, just looking at Bitcoin, that is not a bear market trend here. That is an uptrend. We are in a bull market. We're above the 200-day moving average, this green trend line here. When we are below this thing and we are in a downtrend, I will be like, bear market, bear market, bear market, bear market, right? You're probably going to get annoyed at me because I'll be flipped right on the other side saying, guys, expect more downside. This is the time if you want to short, go ahead and short. And then I'll be telling you, hey, I am buying, I'm backing up the truck. This is when mainstream is going to say crypto's dead, crypto's a scam. Everybody and their grandma is going to be scared again. Oh my God, it crashed, right? And then I'll be backing up the truck buying, just like I did when FTX was collapsing. I bought down here. I hope that's helpful, guys. All right, looks like we're getting some spammers. Mr. Van Sweden, Tony, I finally get to comment live. I'm Travis from the Redding, California, from Redding, California. Thank you for your help. I've been watching you for a year and learned a lot. Yeah, my pleasure, man. Happy to share the knowledge. I'm sharing the knowledge that I've acquired over the years. I started off in this market in 2016. I didn't know anything, and I got wrecked along the way. But I knew that the technology is here to stay. That just like the .com boom with the internet, There was the Googles, the Amazons, and the fundamental application of the technology was legit. So I kept with it, kept educating myself, and I'm trying to share that knowledge with you guys. So I hope you appreciate that. Not taking the emotional route, just the data, the charts, what is actually happening in the market versus headlines. Headlines are one thing. You're going to see sensational headlines on mainstream media. Don't listen to that stuff, okay? You really got to look at the adoption and the factual news, right? Like we covered this morning here, like Tether, right? There's a lot of FUD about Tether, and Bo Hines is joining Tether, and Howard Lutnick and Cantor Fitzgerald backing Tether. So Japan is launching the yen-backed stablecoin on Avalanche and all this stuff. So we want to focus on the facts. All right, guys, going to wrap it up soon. Again, check out our sponsors. Uphold, great place to buy, sell, stake your crypto. They have 300 plus cryptocurrencies on their platform. They offer staking on 20 plus crypto assets. I'm a user. I have been a user since 2018. So one of my go-to exchanges. Check out Trezor. They make beautiful hardware wallets and make it easy to self-custody and safely store your crypto assets. I'm a user of the Trezor Safe 5. Use the code ThinkingCrypto, all one word, to get 5% off. Check out Propy, leading the charge of putting real estate on chain. I'm a Propy token holder. Check out VeChain. I'm a VET token holder. As mentioned earlier, they're getting huge adoption from big brands around the globe. They're partnered with Dana White and the UFC, so check them out. iTrust Capital allows you to set up a self-directed IRA to invest in crypto, so you get huge tax benefits there. They have a great custody program, which I believe is second to self-custodying your crypto assets, because they use Coinbase institutional custody. And you can get a $100 funding bonus if you sign up with my link. So all the links will be in the description. Check out my newsletter. It's available on Substack, 100% free, guys. I'm not saying this because I want more subscribers, but literally, guys, a lot of the stuff I talk about on the podcast, I put it in the newsletter. So you can go on that educational journey to learn what's happening and see the patterns that I outlined here and the on-chain data. And, we talk about the DXY and the Bitcoin dominance and USDT dominance and what the chart patterns look like. This is a great place to learn, guys. And again, you don't have to pay anything. And I don't spam. It is 100% free, and you get one newsletter per week. And I try to fill it with as much information so you don't get bombarded daily, right? So I cover a lot of things in here, guys. So be sure to check it out. It doesn't cost you anything. And check out my book on Amazon. It's available in paperback and digital. Check out my course at mycryptocourse.com. Taylor, you do know Tether is moving into the United States. So what you're saying doesn't make sense, especially, like I said earlier, the Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, and his firm, which are US based, are invested in Tether. Howard Lutnick literally said last year they have the money. They did the review. So when you're saying offshore entity, Tether is moving into the United States. So I don't know what you guys are talking about. And the reason Tether was primarily out of the United States was because of all the lawsuits and all the things that were happening in the United States over the past 4 years. Tether's CEO was at the White House with Trump. So be careful with these narratives being pushed out there. Do you have a bias that you want to see Tether collapse? Think about that. Why do you want that? Do you have a bias because simply they are outside the United States? But then I just gave you facts that they're moving to the US. The reason why they hired Bo is to make their push in the United States. Again, stick to the facts, right? SoFlow Digital, hey, how are you? Great to have you. Cream Elixir Studios, hey guys and girls, buy some TRX. So I don't hold Tron in my portfolio, but Tron honestly has been performing well, right? It is where is it at? It is a top 10 asset. I mean, it's number 8, and Justin Sun has been doing a lot of stuff. So Let's see here. Let's look at Tron's chart. I'm trying to see what's the best chart to look at. Let's use the Binance chart, maybe that. Look, man, I don't hold it, but it's moving. It's all-time high. It broke its all-time high already. And let me see if I can. Is this the furthest back? This thing? Yeah, guys. I mean, it broke its all-time high already, right? Which is incredible. So it's on the upward trajectory. Although it looks like it's going to be cooling down soon because it's in the overbought zone, but it's looking good. Again, I don't hold it, so I'm not being biased or anything here. Taylor, again, you're very hung up on revolving doors. That's happening with many companies. Again, Tether is making a push to be in the US. So your initial point is moot, where it's like Tether's an overseas company. The CEO of Tether was literally at the White House meeting with Trump. Trump called him out when he at the White House summit. And Howard Lutnick, Secretary of the Commerce, literally last year said they have the reserves. And then Cantor Fitzgerald, his firm, took a 5% ownership. This is a Wall Street firm. So again, you got to make sure you're not getting emotional here about these things, but factual. I understand in the past, I've been on record saying Tether's ship was not in order back in the early days. I remember interviewing Brock Pierce about this. And, we talked a bit about it in the back in the day. I don't think they had the reserves, but I believe they do now. And they have the backing of Wall Street firms. Tether's CEO is now in the United States. I've interviewed him a couple times, and they're getting officials. So I think you're using maybe old narratives to try to frame something that's very different now, if you get what I'm saying. Hey, Gaten, great to have you. With ETF, you think XRP will go under $1 in the bear markets? Yeah, it's possible. Someone asked me that question earlier. What is the bear market level you think we might see XRP at? My response was, it depends how high it goes in this bull market, because to do the percentages, right? You will look at, okay, let's say it goes to $9. Well, let's look at maybe what is 50% from there looks like, what the 60% looks like, 70, 80, right? I don't think we're going to see an 80% bear market crash like we've seen historically. I think it's going to be less. Maybe it'll be like 60%, honestly. But I could be wrong. There could be the crypto treasury companies have a massive collapse, and that sends everything down 80%, right? But this is where we have to wait and see. But my best guesstimate would be it could be hovering in that 70 to 85 cents range, possibly around $1. But again, it just depends what happens in this bear market, who collapses, right? And to your point of the ETFs get rotated. So I still think it might, we'll have to wait and see. I have to see what the high is. So let's say we hit the top of the market and I don't know, XRP hit $10, just as an example. And then we do, okay, we're in a downtrend. What is the likely trajectory and base that we find ourselves at, right? So we're going to have to wait and see, folks, what that looks like. It's just me says, have you looked into Richard Hart's ecosystem yet, Tony? I have not, honestly. I haven't followed Hex or anything like that. I know Richard got pretty much set free from the SEC, which, good for him. But, maybe I'll try to get him on the podcast. I'll see if I can get him on. He's not a dumb guy. He's a smart guy. I watched him speak before, so he knows what's going on in the markets. I just saw some things in Hex I didn't like that seemed very Ponzi-like. And again, I'm not saying it's a Ponzi. I say it was like Ponzi-like. And I need to do more research. So I'll leave it at that. Andrew Moreno says, did you go over M2 global market today? Yes, I did. So let me pull it up really quick here. So right now, and we're seeing a top come mid-September going to October. We're seeing a bit of a reversal as of the data today, but we're not breaking highs. So we got to see how this plays out. So, give it a few more weeks. Is this continuing up or is this rolling over? That's what I don't know. And it will determine if this bull market is indeed blowing off in Q4 or there's a spillover into 2026 and a blow off top in Q1 of 2026. And, if in that case, then this move in October in Q4 would be a local top, another local top like we've seen, but I'm not sure yet, that this is TBD, honestly, as the data rolls in. So it won't be the only factor we're going to use. This is obviously a major factor, but it won't be the only. We're going to have to validate it with things like the Pi cycle top indicator, right? We're going to look at Fibonacci levels. Have they been hit for Bitcoin and different altcoins? Bitcoin in the last bull market went to the, it was spiked over the 3.618. Will we spike over that or get to around it? That will put us at a $200,000 plus Bitcoin. I don't know. But we're going to use all these different factors to get an idea. We're going to look at what whales are doing. So on-chain data from sentiment, are the whales still accumulating or are we in a downtrend? And that's where, if they're exiting the market, sound the alarm. And we're going to look at Google Trends data. Is there a lot of search volume around crypto, Bitcoin, altcoins? Is retail sentiment at a high? Everybody and their grandma telling you about crypto. We're going to look at the app rankings in the App Store. Is Coinbase app near number one? Is it in the top 10 like we've seen historically? These are all the different factors we're going to use to validate our thesis, in addition to like Elliott wave theory. Is Bitcoin dominance starting to recover? Has it broken significant levels and starting a major reversal? USDT dominance, is it trying to go back above the 4% mark? Because I believe the drop that we're going to see here, where it goes below 4%, maybe down to 3.7% or so or lower, and then it starts reversing, then I'm going to say, hey, okay, we got this confluence of all these different factors that are showing us the top might be in, or we are in the top zone. I'm not trying to find the exact top because that's next to impossible. No one has ever been able to do that. But what we want to look at is the zone, which could be a period of a month or two or weeks, right? So where we can say, okay, we're in the top zone, start your exit plan strategy. Obviously, I'll be cashing out in phases. I'm not, waiting for a certain day or something like that. I'm just going to be cashing out in stages as I hit different price points. Mr. Van Sweden, yes. So the channel members, and they have access to that. So if you're a channel member on YouTube, I have a spreadsheet, but I'll read off some of it to you. It's like Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, Solana, Avax, HBAR, VeChain. I have some Ondo, some AI tokens I bought in 2023, such as Fetch and Render. And there's some legacy coins I have that I haven't been buying them, but they're from like 2018, 2019, like Litecoin, right? Ethereum Cash, I have some of that in my portfolio. But the ones I listed off are, my main bag items. And Chainlink, I mentioned Chainlink earlier as well. Taylor says, if you're going to run through the revolve, go to the U.S. company who was hurt by the war on crypto. But Taylor, I mean, I think you're getting emotional here. Why would that even matter? I understand what you're saying, but why would anyone be obligated to go to Ripple? I think is what you're talking about, right? That doesn't make sense. Everybody's going to do what's best for them financially, and where they see opportunities, opportunity for growth. The fact that Tether is coming to the United States, it gives Bo a great opportunity. Flare. So I have Flare in my portfolio. I am bullish on it. Flare, of course, was my Flare holdings, of course, was from the snapshot with XRP. So I didn't buy any Flare. So it's not really an investment as it is an airdrop, and I'm going to capitalize on it. Let's take a look at the Flare chart here. So Flare showed a lot of strength in Q4 with that rally, which is good to see. And it's not far from the all-time high. It gave all of it back, though, unfortunately. But it's been rallying a bit. As always, I want to see more strength. I do believe it can break the all-time high. Not a guarantee, of course, but I think with all the news and the narratives and the DeFi, the F assets they're building for Bitcoin, Doge, and XRP, I think that could do really well. So I would love to see, man, a 9-cent Flare or even higher, 10. That would be amazing. But we got some ways to go. So this is where we want to see total 3 start moving, breaking that all-time high of 1 trillion, because then it will send a lot of liquidity to many of these tokens like the FLR token. All right, let's see. A couple more items and I'm going to wrap it up, guys. David Santos says, I truly believe the more people ask about altcoin season, the longest it will take to arrive. Q1 of 2026 might be the right answer. It's possible, David. I think people are getting a bit impatient, and the market, the whales, they love to play with you. They love to shake you out and break you and have you buy back in. That is their game. So this is where I was mentioning earlier, these are the times. Don't look at your portfolio. I don't do it. I have not looked at my portfolio. Don't look at the charts, right? Just step away, go out and touch grass. David, your photo shows you were at the beach. Go to the beach, right? It's important to not stare at your portfolio screen all day, man. It's just not healthy. And the market will rip you to shreds if you are caught up too much in the daily. You got to look at the macro, which is what I try to point you guys to. Guys, all right, it's been over an hour, so I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you for tuning in. I'm wishing all of you the best of luck in this bull market, that you make incredible returns. And as always, guys, don't invest with your emotions. Be patient. Patience is so important. Whether you're investing in the stock market, real estate, you got to be patient and understand the market cycles, stick to the facts and the data, and watch out for people who are spreading FUD, telling you fairy tales, conspiracy theories. That is not investing, right? That's nonsense. Now, if you want to do that for fun, go ahead, but don't use that as a investment thesis. Okay, just be careful. I've seen this story before. I see a lot of people get caught up too much with narratives. Narratives are one thing, but you got to look at the data and the on-chain information, the charts, and the actual facts, like what I'm sharing with you guys, these news items, right? Who's building where? What adoption's happening? There's no dispute of those things, because people sometimes give you speculation. They tell you this fancy story, this fairy tale, makes you feel good, but it's not actual the information. It's not factual, right? So just be careful. Watch out for these people. I say that as someone who's been here since 2016. I don't want to see you guys get wrecked, where you're hanging on to some fairy tale that someone said and they made it sound good, but it has nothing to do with the charts. It has nothing to do with actual adoption. So just be careful out there, folks. And once again, wishing you the best of luck in this bull market to make incredible returns, and you make some life-changing money, get financial freedom. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Talk to you all later.